Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Make Our World Your Runway. This show is all about the pageant, entertainment, modeling, fashion, and even the business industry. So, whatever's industry you are in and you are on our show, we definitely encourage you to make our world your runway. And also, before we bring on our next guest, we do have a few announcements. Remember to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so you can view Make Our World Your Runway and also the GTC success stories. The 100 Successful Women in Business book is available at Amazon and Target, and I highly recommend picking up a copy and reading many of the accomplishments of these amazing women and all the other interesting people that are in that book. I'm also in there, so you can read about my story as well. And available every Monday, the Global Trade Chamber magazine also has some fabulous stories. And the big announcement is registrations are now open, okay, for the next round of awards for 100 Successful Women in Business, which will be held in London, England, this August 24th through the 28th. One event you do not want to miss. And if you are a successful woman who has amazing accomplishments, nominate yourself and also nominate another woman. This is, like I said, this is a show that you don't want to miss in merry old England. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we hope to see you there. Okay, we do have a very special guest today. We are going to circle the globe, going back to India. Okay, and this girl is absolutely amazing. We do want to welcome her to the 2022 pageant. She's going to be competing in our Petite Division. She's 24 years old, and she is a girl that is growing wings. She's hailing from the city of dreams, which is Mumbai. She's born to a cultural, diverse parents, and she grew up learning to respect every religion. Okay, she believes in equality, and she's just a strong individual. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to welcome to Make Our World Your Runway, Rhia Mechant, and I'm going to say it the French way, Mechant. So, welcome, Rhia. Hi, Rhia. How are you?
I'm very well, Angela. A very big namaste to you from India, and good evening to
Oh, yes,
everyone
thank
who's
you.
watching.
Yes, thank you so much. And from the States, thank you for participating on Make Our World Your Runway. And you look absolutely beautiful today. I must say that.
Thank you so much. You look stunned as usual.
Well, I try. I have to keep up with you ladies, so I try. But anyway, I love what you said. You're just a girl growing wings. Okay. And
Yes.
congratulations on being in the International Glamour Pageant and winning the title of Miss International World Petite India. We're going to be so honored to have you, okay, at our pageant in July.
It's an honor. It's a dream come true. And like you said, I won the petite title. So for someone like me who has always been very conscious about my physical attributes, specifically my height, to be given this honor to carry my country's name forward at such a prestigious pageant such as yours, it's
Thank
truly
you.
an honor, and I'm really looking forward.
Well, that's the reason why we started the Petite Division, because there's so many women out there that say, oh, I cannot walk a runway because I'm not tall enough, because you know how fashion is. A lot of
Yes.
times on the runway, they want you 5'7" and over. A lot of times in pageantry, they want you to be very tall. So we decided that, you know what? I'm a petite woman. I'm only 5'5". And I said, there has to be a place in this world for petite women. So we started that division, which has become very successful for us. And not only that, we have found that a lot of petite women are fabulous on the runway. But something that you can do, you can go into print modeling, because I was in the entertainment industry, and they
Yes.
didn't care if I was a 4'2" pygmy, as long as what came out of my voice. Okay, because I was a singer.
Absolutely.
As long as I could sing and carry that stage, that's all they worried about. So being petite, you can walk the runway, but at the same time, you can do print modeling. They don't know your height, and you could be very successful. And believe it or not, print modeling does make a lot more money than the catwalk. So you're in a great division. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. And like you said, there are a lot of petite women who are actually, they have a lot of potential, but they don't have the correct opportunities or the correct outlet to venture into many avenues. So thank you for bringing about that change and making such an inclusive platform. Thank you so much.
No, you're quite welcome. And I've been working with Dr. Ashata on that. And you know how Dr. Ashata is. She's all about opportunities. You've got a great mentor. Okay. And we're so happy to have her in the main title of Miss International World. She's done a
Absolutely.
lot. I mean, with her Dream and Believe Foundation, the International Glamour Project, we could not be more proud of her. So you're in good company if you're being mentored by Dr.
Yes,
Ashata.
absolutely. She's an inspiration.
Oh, she's a fabulous inspiration. She always says that I'm her mentor. I always like to reverse it. I always say she's my mentor because when I run into trouble, first person I call, I'll say, Dr. Akshata, how would you handle this? And she will always give me advice. So I think we're both in good company with that.
Yes,
But tell
absolutely.
us, how did you get into pageantry? What was your inspiration to decide to compete? Obviously, you won a title, but what led up to that?
Well, Angela, actually, I've always had a fascination for pageantry. So I remember as a little girl, all of us would sit around the television watching the Miss India pageant that used to happen. And I would always be really mesmerized by, these beautiful women walking the ramp. And they had these aspirations to carry their country's name forward. And I would always tell my mom that one day I want to be there. And I grew up, and naturally, because of my height, I didn't get a chance for a very long time. So I almost gave up on that dream because a lot of pageants have the height criteria, right? So I
Yes.
had almost given up, and that's when my mom came across the International Glamour Project, and she really pushed me because she knew how important that dream was for me. And finally, there was a platform which wouldn't hold me back because of my height, and I'm really glad she pushed me.
Yeah, I'm glad that she did. Yes, because again, you cannot let your height be a deterrent on what you want to do. And it's funny because when I was very small, I used to watch the Miss America pageant, the Miss USA pageant, and the Miss Universe pageant. Now, where I actually missed my calling, I mean, I did compete in a few pageants and won, but I should have gone into Miss America because Miss America was not so much about height, but they were all about talent. And being that I was a singer, that's what they would have looked at because they actually based their criteria and they put a lot of emphasis on the scoring of talent. So that's something I should have done. I actually missed my calling on that, but I'm glad that you and I are sort of on the same wavelength that when we were small, we used to watch these women. And you're right, it was a great big encouragement. But I did read something about you is that uh, your parents, okay, gave you a very strong foundation and
Yes.
encouraged you with education. So I want to hear your opinion on that and how you feel that education is very important, even though you're in pageantry, how education is important.
So I was born to parents, both working parents. And from the very beginning, they always would tell me this, that the biggest and most important asset they will ever invest in for me is my education. It's
Yes.
it's an asset which is never going to depreciate. It'll only appreciate. And I'm glad that they have given my education a lot of importance since the very beginning. Extracurriculars, academics, they've pushed me, and it is because of my education that I am here today. It's the foundation laid for every child. So I'm glad that they did that for me, and it's what brings me here today.
Exactly. And I remember Dr. Akshanta saying that she had actually made a deal with her father. She wanted to go into modeling and he wanted her to get an education. And of course, she went into dentistry. And he said to her, he said, okay, if I see that you have high grades, he
Yeah.
said, I'll fund your first photo shoot and
Okay.
your entree into the world of modeling. And she did. She kept high grades. I think she was cum laude or magna cum laude in college. And when he saw that, he stood behind her, and that's what led her into the world of modeling and pageantry. So yes, I totally agree that it is the education that sometimes leads us into these things, because
Yes.
the more educated you are, it does come out in your interviews, it does come out on the stage, and it comes out in anything that you want to do. And
Absolutely. Yes.
in the last, especially with things that have been going on in the world, and especially with COVID, I myself have gotten more involved with the news, more involved with current events. And I find that even doing a show like this, or talking to people like yourself, or just anything that I do in life now, I feel like I've improved on my own education. So I do agree with you. That is very, very important. Okay. And it does, like you say here, it does enhance enhances your interpersonal skills. So I'm glad that um, you've been able to do something like that. But it seems like throughout your childhood that you've had a lot of dreams and you've always had a lot of aspirations. So tell us what it was like in your childhood. And when you were a child, what did you actually dream of becoming, or what did you want to do?
I think I was a very inquisitive child, and I still am very inquisitive actually. I believe learning doesn't stop at any age, and
Yes.
it shouldn't, because every day you get to learn something new from so many people. And, not just throughout my school and college life, but also throughout my career. I've been working for about 4 years now. I have seen myself grow so much, and now with pageantry, I am learning things I didn't know I was even capable of doing. So I think since I was a child, I have been very inquisitive, and there's this insatiable thirst to just keep learning.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's great. And I always say this, so many people are very misconstrued or do not understand what pageantry is all about. They think that it's just women that, they're on the stage, they're in a bathing suit, they're in a gown, and they just parade around and being beautiful. And as you
Yes,
know, we have beauty on the outside, but beauty also comes from within as well.
absolutely.
And I would have to say this, a lot of the women that I ever managed in the world of pageantry have gone on to some amazing, okay, opportunities and amazing careers. I have girls that have become doctors. I mean, look at Dr. Ashata, her and her husband, they're both
Absolutely.
into dentistry. I have girls that have
Yes.
gone on to television, that have been major anchors for television shows. I have girls that have become actresses. And I always make this comparison. And you take the Miss Universe pageant. Now, we all know that Wonder Woman is a very big movie, and Gal Gadot, who competed for Miss Israel, she didn't even make the top 15, or I think, yeah, she didn't make the top 15. But someone was sitting in the audience and saw her potential. She now has become Wonder Woman. Look at where she has absolutely gone. She's a very famous actress. I just saw her in a new movie called Death on the Nile, which she was absolutely spectacular in. She's not only beautiful, she's not only intelligent, but now she has a career as an actress. And because she took that step to compete in the Miss Universe pageant, look what it did for her. So
Absolutely.
I always tell all my girls coming into the pageant, you don't have to win one of the main titles. You are a winner coming in, like yourself. You're sitting here today, you've won a title, but I consider you a major winner because you've done a lot of things to take that next step to progress in life. So
Yes.
anyone who comes into my pageant, I said, look, if you don't win Miss International World, or you don't win the main title for global or petite, but you've taken that next step to do
Yes.
something very important in your life, and you
Yes.
already are a winner. So just by having
Absolutely.
the title that you have and being with the International Glamour Project, you can take that anywhere you want to go. So
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. And how did you get involved with the International Glamour Project? I did see that you kind of came across that, but what was your introduction to them?
So, my mother found out from somewhere that there is this new organization that is going to be hosting a pageant in India, and it's the first time they're ever doing it. And actually, what caught her eye was the inclusivity, but also not just for my category, but the fact that they have three categories under one roof.
Yes.
So that is something that caught her eye, and she obviously coaxed me to go, and then I coaxed her and my sister to participate. So it was like I think it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity for the three of us. So we said, why not? I mean, it's better to try something new. You never know where it takes you. And look where it brought all of us.
Yeah, exactly. You never, that's just it. You never know where it is going to take you.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Even when I first went into pageantry, I didn't know. The first time I went in, I said to myself, oh, I'll never win. Okay. But I'm going in this just for the
Yes.
opportunity and to see where it could take me. Sure enough, I won the title in my state, my home state of New Jersey. I won Mrs. New Jersey Globe. I went out to nationals and I competed in the top 10. I competed in the pageant. I made the top 10. And then I became the state director for the Mrs. New Jersey Globe organization. I
That's
became
wonderful.
director of the year, which I won an all expense paid trip to go to Greece to see the international pageant. And I will say this, at the same time, I was also in my musical career. And I worked under a wonderful director by the name of Tracy Kemble, who still has the
Okay.
Mrs. US Globe and the Mrs. Globe organization. And when she heard me sing, she opened up so many doors for me. And at
Yes.
that time, I was thinking about signing with the William Morris Agency, which is one of the biggest agencies as far as modeling, entertainment, and acting. And I have to admit, that woman did more for my career than any agency could have ever done. I sang around the world. I was asked to sing
That's
in Phantom of the
wonderful.
Opera. I competed in an East Coast tour, all because I took that step to go
Yes.
into a pageant. And look where it led me. Okay. At one
Absolutely.
point in the 1990s, I had a very successful career. I think I worked 3 days a week and made what some people were making in 5 days. So it does
Yes.
open a lot of doors. And I see you're very energetic on that. So I give you a lot of credit and your mom for coming across the International Glamour Project and
Yes.
taking that next step to get involved.
Absolutely. Like you said, it opens, you never know what doors it opens. So it's always, I think, towards a dream, it's always that one step that matters the most. And once you take that, then you can sort of,
Yes.
you can see the future, and then you're just like walking towards your dream. So that is what it was for me. That audition was the one step that I took.
You're right about that. And a little mentoring that I will kind of give you today, and you can work with this. Last week, well, actually, it wasn't last week, 2 weeks ago. Of course, in our country, the president of the United States always has to do what's called the State of the Union address, okay, to the nation, and it's even sometimes televised around the world to let our people know what's being done in our government. Okay, every president does this. And what I took away from that speech was not about all the different things. And unfortunately, we have a war going on in Ukraine, which is very sad right now. But there was something the president said that I took away, which I didn't even realize. He was in the Midwest and he was touring some companies. And if you know anything about the Midwest of the United States, we have a lot of cow farms out there, farms, and a lot of wheat fields. A lot of our
Okay.
wheat for product is grown out there. And he stopped his motorcade. And even his wife didn't understand what he was looking at. And he was looking at the wheat fields.
Okay.
And his wife said to him, what are you really looking at? What are you visualizing? He said, I'm not looking at a wheat field. He said, I'm looking at opportunity. I'm looking at dreams.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
what could be built on this wheat field? And sure
Absolutely.
enough, one of the major CEOs in our country for Intel called the president and said, you know what? We could build a power plant there using wheat and we could create jobs. And
Yes. That's
that
true.
struck me because now when I go outside and I even look at the sky or the ocean, I just don't look at it for that. I look at it now as a field of dreams for an
Absolutely.
opportunity. And that's how I look at pageantry. That we're not
Yes.
just walking a runway.
Yes.
Okay. We are looking, like you said, we are looking at an opportunity. So,
Yes.
sometimes you may not agree with a leader in any country or any state, but there's always that one thing that they say that you can take away.
Yes.
And who I've admired most from India many, many years ago, and they brought her into the United States, Indira Gandhi.
Right.
She was such an amazing woman. And
Yes.
she actually turned the tide here in the United States for women to be getting involved in high positions. So there's a lot to be said about the country of India. I'm so proud of some of the things you ladies have done.
Yes, that is true. We've had some really inspirational women in India.
Yes, you have. You're one of them. Dr. Akshata is one of them. So now, since you've won your title, and I know that Dr. Akshata has the Dream and Belief Foundation, what have you
Yes.
done with your title, and what do you consider your platform?
So during our pageant, we all were told to pick a social cause, and I chose to go ahead with child education because, as I said, like education is something that I really consider very valuable, and I do understand that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of children in the country who pine for education, who want to, study, they want to learn, but they may not have the correct access to it for various reasons. So I went ahead with the cause of child education, and since the time I've been crowned, we had a we had a dream and believe activity where we went to an orphanage, and I can't I don't think I can put it in words, the feeling of just spending those few hours with those kids, and the way they have so many aspirations, they want to learn, they're so hungry to learn, and it just made me really happy spending those few hours with them. So that was like the highlight since the time I've been crowned.
You know what? That's amazing. And I've done things like that too, especially around Christmas time. I was very charitable this year. I gave to the food bank because I do not want to see any
Wonderful.
child, okay, suffer. They should be able to eat. They should be able to have education. Okay. St. Jude's, where a lot of children there are
Yes.
dying from cancer. Okay. And we've been making a lot of strides with that. So I totally believe in that. That is a fabulous platform. Okay.
Thank you
Child
so much.
education, because children need to have education. Okay.
Yes.
And there are so many children out there today that do come from families that it's just unfortunate that they may not have the resources to send them to school or send them to college. So we need things like that. And we need people like yourself to go around and encouraging children. And that must have been a great experience going in there and seeing those children. I'm sure all their faces lit up.
It was surreal. Their faces lit up because, they don't get this kind of access to even outsiders who come and spend time with them. So just the fact that we were with them made them so happy, and it makes you feel a sense of satisfaction that you're giving back to the society finally. So I'm really grateful to the platform and to Dream and Believe Foundation because they give us these opportunities where we can do our bit towards these kids.
Exactly. And I totally agree with you. It is an opportunity. For me, I also believe in child education, but something that's very big with me is climate change. And I'll tell you why climate change is very big with me. You see what we've just happened. We've went through a pandemic. We need clean air. But like you say, child education, children need to breathe clean air. Okay? If they are our future, we need to build the foundations for their future. Okay? So I highly agree with everything that you're saying. Also, we just passed an infrastructure bill here in our country, which is actually cleaning out lead pipes. I had no idea until I read this
Wonderful.
that there were children in certain part of our countries that were actually drinking water that was
Yes,
polluted
yes.
from lead pipes. This is terrible. This cannot be. This should not happen to even adults, but especially children.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So if they are going to be our future, we have to give them clean water. We have to make sure that they have health care. We have to make sure that they have education, all the tools that they need to go forward. And again, this is what the world of pageantry has done. So many people just don't understand what we do on a daily basis. Okay. And the
Absolutely. I
platform that
totally
you
agree.
have, and through the Dream and Belief Foundation, you've been able to exercise that platform to the way you want. So I think it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. You're right. The Dream and Believe Foundation has taken up so many causes. And like you said, it's not just one thing, but there are many such causes that need to be addressed. There's mental health, there's climate change, there's poverty, there's so many. And I'm so happy that, the Dream and Believe Foundation takes one step at a time. But I know it's a small change, but it starts
Yes.
somewhere. So that's what matters.
Exactly. Now, you've done so much, especially with your title and being involved with the pageant. When you meet other women that want to get involved in the world of pageantry, what exactly do you say to them? How would you encourage them to take that next step?
Well, so there have been people who have, asked me about pageantry, and I always tell them one thing: it's it's a lot of hard work. It looks very glamorous on the outside. I know it's very nice to have a crown, a title, but it's a lot of responsibility. It's commitment, it's hard work and dedication that people don't see usually. So if you're prepared
Right.
for that, great, please sign up. And I encourage them because we need women to come out and speak for themselves. Women, especially like these days, I think they doubt themselves a lot, and pageants like such, they sort of give women that platform where they can come up and actually tap into their true potential. So that is important.
Right. I totally agree with that. Okay. A lot of women that want to get involved with a pageant, I mean, the first thing they always say to me is, well, I want to have a modeling career. Okay. So what we've done is we have created, this is another division we've done, the Miss International World Supermodel, because these are for women, and now there they have to be 5'7" and over, because these are women that just want to be involved with modeling. Okay. So
Yeah.
we've done that. But I also tell them it's not just about modeling. That's one part of it. Okay, we all want to be glamorous and get on the stage and do a fashion show. That's very true. Okay. But there's a lot of community service work in here. There's a lot of things that you have to do. You have to get out within the community and let people know, hey, I have this crown and banner. I'm not just wearing it, but I'm wearing it also in my heart. And I am here to help. Whatever I need to get involved in, whatever I need to do, this is why we get involved with the things that we do. So what you would say that's exactly what I would say to women. You want to get involved with the world of pageantry, you've just taken your next step. Okay, because once you open that door, you can do anything you want to do. For instance, many years ago, I'm going back, probably in 1997. Okay, with a girl by the name of Dawn Foley. She went out to get a job and she didn't get the job. But then when she won Mrs. US Globe, she went back to that same company and they hired her.
Okay.
And they told her the
Yeah.
reason why they hired her, because they saw that on her resume and they said, you've just done something incredible. Okay. So by you having this title, you could put that on your resume. You go for a job,
Yes.
they're probably not saying that you'll, not compete against other candidates, but you're most likely will probably get that position because they feel that you've
Yes.
done community service and you've done a lot of things in your life that could probably help with that job as well.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. It definitely adds a lot of value because they understand that, as a pageant queen, you require certain qualities, and they see that in you once they see that you've done pageantry in the past. So it definitely adds value. Yes, I completely agree.
Exactly. It has a lot of value to your life. It has a lot of value to the community. And when you have that crown and banner and you walk in a room, you'd be surprised how people look up to you. They're like, oh my God, look who's coming in, and they all want to take pictures with you. And it's a great feeling. But you do so much. I mean, you're so involved. Um, when you're not out there promoting your platform and you're not out there promoting your title,
Yes.
when you're in your spare time, what do you do to relax? What's your enjoyment?
Well, these days, and especially because of the pandemic, I used to paint a lot as a child. I was very fond of colors and different textures. So I would, like, my parents would get me a lot of crayons, paints, lots of canvases, and I think I tapped into my artistic side again. Side again, thanks to the pandemic. It gave me a lot of spare time.
Right.
So that is something I find it's my solace. I love playing with colors. I love drawing sceneries. I like to travel, so I keep drawing sceneries more than anything else. So yeah, that's my favorite hobby. Apart from that, I do
No.
bake, but I don't think that's very healthy for my diet right now.
Well, you know what? It's funny you should say that because I love to cook. Okay. And
Wonderful.
I used to travel on Holland America cruise lines, and my ex was a chef. So I learned how to cook. And it's very
Okay.
funny because my husband now says to me, I don't get it. You love to cook. He said, but you don't put on a pound. I said, because I learned how not to become a taste tester. I don't taste anything I
Oh,
cook. And I'll serve it and I'll just kind of look at the food and say, okay, everybody else eat. But what I like about cooking is it relaxes me. And when I cook in the kitchen, especially for the holidays, I turn off the television, I turn off the phone because I have to concentrate. I have to make sure I'm
yes.
not going to burn anything. And I have to watch what I'm doing. But it's sort of, it's like almost my inner sanctum. It
Yes.
very, very much relaxes me. So that's, and during COVID, I tried to stay away from it because everybody was just sitting in front of a television and cookies would come out and
Yes.
this would come out. So I stayed away from that. But what I did during COVID, another thing that I enjoy in my favorite pastime is I love to exercise. I also at one time was a professional dancer. So I took a lot of exercise classes during COVID. So that if I did eat a little extra, I wasn't putting on that weight. Okay. So
Yeah.
I've always exercised all my life. Okay. But when
Okay.
COVID came around, I said, you know what? Now I've got 5 days, 4 days, 3 days to kind of do whatever I want because,
Yes.
other than doing meetings on Zoom, I wasn't doing much. And you really couldn't go out because everything was on lockdown other than going out in your backyard. I said, this is the opportunity to really get back into my exercise. So I did that
Correct.
and I was glad I did. But you're right. A lot of us, I think, got back into our hobbies when COVID hit.
Yes, it did give a lot of us time to not just go back to our old hobbies, but also like explore new ones. So I didn't know that social media took a big hit. Like it
Yes.
grew massively during the pandemic, and my sister is younger than me. She's a teenager, so she got hooked onto the reels really quickly, and I never thought I could be in front of a camera with so much confidence. But she taught me so much about reels, and not just me, she made my mother make reels. So I was like amazed because we never know what would interest us and what catches our it just excites us. And then
Exactly.
together the three of us started making content. So content creation became a new hobby in the house.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, my husband got back into designing. He did a lot of different things too, because
Okay.
his company wasn't working for a while during COVID. So, and you know what? I think I had a lot of time to kind of look at my inner self and reevaluate myself and say, what do I want to do going forward? How do I want to improve on the current business that I have? And just
Okay.
alone, how am I going to treat people going forward? So it gave me an opportunity. And I had a family member that I almost lost to COVID. And I don't tell this to too many people. It really hit me. Okay. It really took me down. And it was my cousin, and we were very, very close. We were almost like sisters because we grew up together. And I was not prepared for that. I'll be very honest. I wasn't prepared for someone in my family getting COVID. But as my husband would always say, when it hits home, you're going to feel it. And it did. And thank God she's fine. Okay. She survived and she didn't even have to go into the hospital. I mean, she was very ill, but thank God she's still with us today. So I think it taught me to look at things differently, look at people
Yes.
differently, and do my life differently and just be happy for all the things that I have. Because you could wake up tomorrow and I hate to sound morbid, but maybe the world won't be standing. So you got to smile today, put your best foot forward, and say, you know what? I got to be thankful for everything that I have. And if I can get up in the morning and still put my 2 feet on the ground, that's worth everything.
I completely agree with you. Like, so when we got COVID, the four of us got COVID.
Me
I didn't
too.
expect it to happen. So we made it through the first wave, we made it through the second wave, and in the third wave we got hit. So we were really taken aback. But like you said, it gives you a lot of time, and when it hits you, you sort of start, you go into retrospection, you start thinking about what you've done, what you can do better, and it just gives you such an insight into your own life. So I think that's the only good thing that came out of the pandemic, that we all
Yeah,
get
exactly. That
to understand.
exactly. That I think that was for all of us. What came out of the pandemic was the fact that it made you rethink, almost like you have to reevaluate your life. And
Yes,
luckily for us, my mom lives with me, and she's going to be 92. Luckily, my husband, myself, and my mother, we didn't get COVID through all the different waves. Luckily for
that's
us, we've gotten the
true.
vaccines, we've gotten the booster shot. A few weeks ago, I got very ill, almost thought I had the Omicron. They don't know what I had. I ran 101 fever for one day. I was tested 3 times for COVID. It was negative. It left me very weak. But with the way the change in the weather, and I've even had the flu vaccine, there's a lot of different things running around. So my doctor said to me, "You probably called a mild case of the flu." He said, "But luckily, your body warded off. And within 4 or 5 days, I was fine." But you know what? Thank God it wasn't COVID. That was my fear. I said, "Oh no, I
Yes,
probably caught
yes,
a version of COVID." But thank God I tested negative 3 times within a matter of several days. So I was very happy about that. Now I'm back to myself. So you know what? I say it can happen to anybody. You never know who you're
yes.
going to pass or where you're going to go. I know their COVID is starting to go down. They're loosening up restrictions with masks. But I always carry my mask with me because I never know if I'm around a lot of people. Hey, it's better to be protected and better to be safe than to be sorry because
Then sorry.
you just don't
Yes.
know. But anyway, with all the wonderful things that you've done, um, what what are your plans for the future, and what final words would you give to our listeners? Words of encouragement.
Well, for the future, so recently it's hit me that, I have this title and I want to make the most out of it. But I don't want to be remembered as someone who just, got a title and did nothing about it. I want to be proactive and put myself out there so that tomorrow thinks about me, they remember about everything that I did, a legacy that I left behind. You know, that is one
Perfect.
thing for sure. I'm definitely looking forward to the near future and seeing all of you in July. So I'm crossing my fingers for that. And
Oh,
about
we're definitely
last
going to have
word,
you here in July.
yes, I'm really hoping that nothing gets in the way this time. Like,
No,
just to
nothing's going
be,
to get in the way. We don't see COVID getting in the way. We just hope that what's going on in Ukraine will be
yes,
done by
yes,
that time. Because unfortunately, we're just everyone is trying to avoid a world war. No one wants to go into World War III because if that
yes,
happens, as they say, all bets are off. Like COVID, everything unfortunately would stop, and it would because of the safety of everyone. Okay,
yes,
but no.
yes.
Other than that, we do not see anything unforeseeable. We're staying positive, full steam ahead.
Absolutely.
And I like what you said about a legacy. And like I told you before, when I listen, I always pick up things. And one of my favorite movies several years ago was Gladiator. And Russell Crowe said something in Gladiator that stuck out of my mind. He said, "What you do in life echoes in eternity." And I was so
Yes,
taken by those words that I totally believe
wonderful.
that.
Yes, wonderfully said.
What we do, and I read something about that was not scripted. That he put that in himself.
Oh,
And I so
okay.
admired him for saying that when he said, "What we do in life echoes in eternity." And I so believe that because what we do today will carry on tomorrow. And even when we leave that legacy, and people will keep us alive through our legacy. They always say people are gone. And I say, you may be gone body wise, but you're never gone spiritually.
Correct,
Because if
correct.
you do something, like you say, a legacy, or you do something that is wonderful for people, people are going to remember you. Your name is always going to come up, and your spirit is going to stay alive. So
Yeah,
I always tell everyone, well, you may leave body and soul this earth, but you know what? Your spirit is always going to be here.
always gonna be there.
So you
Yes.
will constantly stay in the minds of people. So we're never truly gone. Okay. And if we
Oh,
can
that's
stay
very
alive
true.
and yep, in people's memories, then you know what? We have truly left a legacy and we have conquered everything that we've gone out to do on life. So any other closing words that you would say to our viewers?
Um, it's just one quote that I truly believe in, and I'm going to say it again. I'm just a girl growing wings. I
I
started
love
off
it.
with a dream, and today I'm here. I'm living my dream, and I just don't want to stop learning. Even with this international journey that I will be very soon embarking on, I'm really hoping to gather so much knowledge from you, from all the other ladies that I'm meeting there, because they come from different cultures. They have
Yes.
so much to, they have so much to say. They have so much to share. It's going to be an enriching journey, and I want to absorb as much as I can. So I'm looking forward, and hopefully we'll see you soon in July.
Oh, you will definitely see me in July. And I'm like you, just a girl growing my wings, even though I'm a little bit much older. But you want to know something? I learned from all of you women, and I'm still spreading my wings as well too. So I love that, and I'm gonna use
You know,
that. Just a
I
girl
need to say
growing wings.
something to you. You're not so you said you're old. No, you're very young because when I look at you, you're so full of light. So I remember you taking my personal round for the pageantry, the pre-finale week, and I remember waiting before in the waiting room during the meeting, and I was very nervous. I had butterflies in my tummy. But the minute I was put into the meeting room with you, and I saw this wide smile on your face, and it sort of calmed me down a lot. So this is very nostalgic to have you interview me again, because your smile is actually what comforted me back then.
Well, I'm so happy that you said that. And you know what? And I'll tell you why I smile. As you've said, I have gone through a lot, okay, in my life. And I found two things: smile and laughter. Okay.
Absolutely,
Dream.
yes.
Okay. If you can believe it, you can dream it, or dream it, believe it. So if my smile can encourage all of you, then I know what my legacy is, okay? Is my smile.
Absolutely, very well said.
So I thank you for saying that. Well, anyway, Rhia, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Okay, you are absolutely amazing, fantastic. Don't stop what you're doing. Child education, that is something that is so well needed in the world today. And again, we are going to be honored to welcome you on board Margaritaville at Sea, Bahama Paradise Cruise Line in July of 2022 when we put on the Miss International World Pageant. And we know you're going to do very well. So thank you for being part of Make Our World Your Runway.
Thank
And
you
as they
so
say
much
in
for having
Indonesia,
me.
not goodbye, but till we meet again. Thank you
Till
so
we meet
much.
again. Yes. Thank you so much, Angela. It was a delight. Thank you.
Yes, it was. And we will see you again.
Yes, we will.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another wonderful lady. We circled the globe again from India, Rhia Mechant. She's a beautiful 24-year-old girl. And as she said, just a girl growing her wings. So next week, we want to welcome you back, as we always have another interesting guest. We may be going live at a trade show, Make Our World Your Runway. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you very soon.